Have you ever been at the absolute end of your rope? I mean, physically weak, emotionally drained, just spiritually lost. Well, today we're going on a journey through Psalm 6. It's this incredibly raw and powerful story of someone who's been to that exact breaking point and somehow found their way back. It's a verse-by-verse trip from the deepest despair to a sudden, almost unbelievable declaration of victory. So, our story kicks off with what you could call the first act, a desperate plea. The stakes are set right away. Our narrator here, they're not just talking into the air. They are speaking directly to God, and they are holding nothing back, laying all their pain and fear right out on the table. All right, so we start with verse 1. I want you to picture this. A lone person looking so small and vulnerable, just staring up at this massive, stormy, really intimidating sky. This is not some polite request. It's a raw cry for mercy. The psalmist feels the weight of God's anger like a hurricane that's about to hit, and they're just screaming, "Please, not now. Don't punish me when I'm already this broken." Now we get to verse 2, and the pain becomes intensely physical. He says, "I am weak." And this isn't just about feeling tired, It's a deep, bone-weary exhaustion. The mental picture here is just so striking. It's like you're seeing an X-ray of this person, and their very bones are glowing with this dull, painful light. The trouble isn't on the surface. It's way down in his marrow. It's a core-deep ache. Then comes verse 3, and the anguish shifts inward. It's not just the body anymore. The soul is greatly troubled. The image for this is a close-up on a face, but you can tell that inside their head a violent storm is just raging. And right from the middle of that turmoil comes the most desperate question of all: how long? It's a cry that I think we all understand, right? That feeling that the suffering is just never, ever going to end. Okay, so if you thought that was tough, we're now going even deeper. We're entering the emotional low point of the story. Here, the suffering just gets more intense, and that feeling of being completely abandoned is overwhelming. This is the heart of the darkness. In verse 4, that plea, it becomes this gut-wrenching cry for rescue. "Return, O Lord, deliver me." The image this paints is just so powerful. Think of a hand. Just one hand, reaching up out of a dark, deep pit, straining for a tiny, distant glimmer of light. It's the cry of someone who feels completely and utterly lost, just begging to be found and pulled out of the abyss. What's so interesting about verse 5 is the argument he makes. It's born from total desperation. The psalmist is basically staring into the void, confronting the finality of death. Picture a silent black and white graveyard, where figures are just slowly fading away into dust. The point is simple but so profound. If you let me die, who's going to be left to remember you? Who's going to thank you from the silence of the grave? It's this incredible plea for life, arguing that praise and connection, they happen here, in the land of the living. Verse 6, wow. This gives us one of the most vivid images of grief in all of literature. "I am weary with my groaning." The sorrow is so deep that the tears are just endless. And the visual this creates is unforgettable. Imagine a man lying on his bed, but the bed itself is floating in a vast ocean of his own tears, all under a dark, starless night sky. He is literally drowning in his own sorrow. And by verse 7, you can see the physical toll this emotional war has taken. Grief has become like a sickness that's aging him way too fast. "My eye wastes away." For this, imagine an extreme close-up of a single, weary eye. And what's reflected in it? The shadowy, menacing figures of his enemies. His whole world, everything he sees, is now defined and consumed by his grief and his foes. And then, just like that, everything changes. After that deep, dark dive into despair, we hit this dramatic turning point. The tone, the posture, the entire atmosphere just shifts from darkness to light in an instant. This is the sudden reversal. Verse 8 is a total shock. The voice is no longer pleading with God, it's commanding his enemies. "Depart from me." And here's the crucial part, the why. "For the Lord has heard the voice of my weeping." Something happened. In that process of pouring out all that pain, an answer came through. Visually, the person who was lying down, drowning in tears, is now standing. His back is turned defiantly against those same shadowy figures, and now they're the ones retreating. So verse 9 is where that newfound confidence really gets locked in. There's no more questioning. It's a statement of pure, unshakable certainty. The Lord has heard. The Lord will receive.
The visual shifts again. Our protagonist is now facing forward, head held high, and this warm, powerful light breaks through the clouds and just shines down. The prayer was answered. The connection is back.
And the whole story wraps up in verse 10 with this final declaration of victory. This isn't really a request for revenge, it's more like a statement of what's going to happen now. His enemies will be turned back in confusion. The final scene shows him standing firm and resolute in the foreground, while way in the background, his enemies are in total disarray, turning away in shame. The battle is over.
So we journeyed from a desperate plea in a storm to a bed floating on an ocean of tears, and we ended up with a figure standing defiant in the light. This psalm really shows us that expressing our deepest pain, the act of lament itself, is an incredibly powerful journey. It's not a sign of weakness at all, but a path toward a breakthrough. And that leaves us with one final thought to ponder. Where does the strength for such a sudden, incredible change of heart really come from?